Hi, this is Tony again. As I promised, I'm going to share the secret with you. Now, this secret isn't the secret you've seen at the cinema or read about in the press, but it's equally old, and in fact, it might be even more powerful because you get a big say in the outcome. Okay, so let's get to it. More than 20 years ago, as I said, I was a 50-a-day smoker, and this broke me free of that habit once and for all. Now, let me tell you, one evening more than 20 years ago, I was in a friend's house. And I was close to this friend and his family. They were good people. Now, he had one major problem. He was an alcoholic. He was fine, by the way, with various smoking herbs, which he took from time to time, but alcohol, he was bad news for himself, for his family, and for the neighborhood. Now, you might wonder, why am I talking about alcoholism if we're dealing with breaking free from cigarettes? Well, the secret is part of this story, so bear with me. Okay, now that evening I was working my way through my third pack of cigarettes, as usual, and all of a sudden I looked down and I saw the cigarette in my hand. I was holding it just like I'm holding this just now, and I could see the colours in it. I could see some beautiful colours, red and green and blue, and it was sort of reflecting like the colours reflecting off a fish's scales, yeah? And I started looking at this little cigarette and saying, I really do love my cigarette. It's my little companion. It takes away the stress, accompanies me everywhere, helps wake me up in the morning. And other people had asked me from time to time, lectured me a bit and said, you should stop smoking. I'd seen the videos, I counted up the money. But I wasn't going to be concerned with any of that. I thought, it's my decision. It's my life. It's my health. It's my money. Nobody can tell me what to do. This is my little friend. And then all of a sudden, it was like a realization came. It was like a bolt of lightning out of the blue. I saw there's something else. I thought, my God, this isn't just my friend. This is my enemy. This is something which is keeping me prisoner. Really, keeping me prisoner. It's doing me a sort of criminal damage, grievous bodily harm, and demanding money with menaces. Now, that might sound a bit over the top, but we've all been there. All smokers have been there. You look in your packet, last thing at night, there's one cigarette. You know you want to smoke it, and you know that if you don't have a cigarette for first thing in the morning, you're going to feel like death warmed up. So what are you going to do? And then it's like this compulsion. The little voice kicks in and says, you'd better put your coat on and go to the garage, because if you don't get a packet of cigarettes, you're going to feel like death warmed up in the morning. So you put your coat on, you go out, maybe in the rain, to get your cigarettes. And something, I just thought, no more, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to take this manipulation, this compulsion from a bloody cigarette. So I turned to my friend and I said, that is the last cigarette I'm ever going to smoke. I put it out. And he went, ha, ha, ha. And I don't blame him for laughing. Because, it's hard enough to stick to resolutions anyway. But when you make resolutions, if you're under the influence, well, that's another matter altogether. And he just didn't believe it. Now, I don't blame my friend for laughing. But I knew that I'd reached a turning point. And I was so certain of my position that I was not going to start smoking again. I said to him, look, if I ever in my life smoke another ordinary cigarette, I will bring you a case of booze the same day. Now that might sound a little bit silly, saying I'll bring you a case of booze. But what I had done actually was placed a barrier between myself and cigarettes. A barrier I was not prepared to push against. Because to do so, I would have been betraying my friend and betraying his family. Because booze was poison for this man. And if I'd brought him a case of booze, I would have been responsible for helping feed their daddy poison. And I wasn't going to do that. Now, what I had done was, in actual fact, burn my boats behind me. And this is the ancient secret that I discovered by accident. Burning your boats behind you, the story, which I'm sure we know, is when a general in ancient Rome led some troops across a river where no soldiers were allowed to go. And he was going to take the city. And to concentrate the minds of his soldiers, he got them to make a pile of all their boats. They were just little wooden boats, but they were precious, and they brought them over the river, and they could have taken them back if they needed to escape. So they piled all the boats up and he set them on fire. He says, "Gentlemen, there's no escape. Now we're going to win, or we're going to die, but there's no escape." And the rest is history. Julius Caesar crossed the Rubicon and went on to become one of Rome's most famous emperors. And that's how burning the boats gave power to those soldiers, because what it was, there was no going back. Now, if we put ourselves in a situation where there's no going back from what we've committed to, we also become very, very powerful. You see, an upper brain decision to do something which requires deep energy isn't enough. We've got to use them together. Let me give you another, for instance. I was speaking to a grandmother, recently retired, 5 grandchildren, and she'd smoked all her life, lovely woman. And she looked me straight in the eye and says, "Tony, I cannot give up smoking." And I said, "I believe you. You cannot give up smoking." And I think she was a bit surprised, because she was expecting me to sort of say, "Well, yes, you can, blah, blah, blah." I said, "No, I agree with you." "Well, aren't you going to say something? Aren't you going to tell me something?" I said, "Okay, I want you to do 2 things for me. I want you to answer one honest question, and I want you to imagine something. And if you do that, I think I can help you see something in a way you've never seen it before. Will you do that?" She says, "Yeah." I said, "Okay, we'll do the imagining bit first. I want you to imagine, God forbid, some horrible, deranged gunman had your cutest grandchild and had him hostage, had a gun to his head, and there was nothing you could do to help except one thing. Now you know what's coming. Now the gunman can be trusted to keep a promise, but the only thing that's going to satisfy that gunman, so that he is going to promise never ever to harm your grandchild, is that you've got to stop smoking and stay stopped. If that was really the case, would you stop smoking? That's the question." She said, "Of course I would." I said, "Well, hang on, this is amazing. Just a minute ago you told me definitely, Tony, I cannot stop smoking. Now you say I definitely would stop. Which is it?" There was no maybe about your answer, you were certain. She said, "Well, in that situation I would." I said, "Well, do you know what you've done? You've released deep energy. And it's that deep energy we need to bring out to beat smoking addiction or anything else which has got a hold of us. And that's the secret, the burning your boats, the cutting off your retreat, the putting yourself in a situation which you will not walk back from. And then you will win, because you're releasing the energy to win. We can't just release the energy from here. The energy doesn't live up there. That's the place for making decisions. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm very much an upper brain person. I have a great deal of logic. I respect logical decisions. But we need to release deep energy. And this is where the winner's freedom secret comes in. This deep energy allows everybody to achieve freedom, to be a winner. Now, I'll be honest. I've shared the secret with you. I've told you I've stayed free of cigarettes for more than 20 years. I've also told you that it was tough in the early stages. In fact, it was very tough. And I'm glad, actually, it was so tough, because I know how powerful the secret is. Because if it got me through that, it can get you through anything. Now, the good news for you is that it doesn't have to be tough for you. Thanks to this fabulous self-hypnosis course, Stop Smoking for Good. This will accompany you through your journey. The power of the secret puts you in the place where you're going to win. Now, this helps you achieve it without the pain. So the first week, the first CD helps de-stress you. You're still smoking and you're giving up the cigarettes the following week, but this gets you de-stressed beforehand. Because let's face it, one of the reasons we smoke is because we're stressed. So it gets rid of the stress the week before. The next week, it keeps you focused as you actually do give up smoking. And the third week, the third CD, relaxes you, keeps you relaxed, going on into your new smoke-free life. And of course, the fourth CD, which I've made myself, reminds you of your commitment, reminds you of the power that you've unleashed, and helps keep you on track and motivates you into the future. And incidentally, helps you achieve many other things as well as stop smoking. Now, return to the site, get all the information you need, and then click on the I Want to Quit Now button, and let your journey begin. You won't journey alone. I'll accompany you to your success. See you.